R&B group Jagged Edge could have gotten lost in the abyss of other groups that looked and sounded very similar to them in the 90s. But they managed to carve out their own path right from the start and went on to achieve incredible success into the early 2000s. The group's members include identical twin lead singers Brian and Brandon Casey, Richard Wingo, and Kyle Norman. They formed in Atlanta, Georgia, after the Casey brothers relocated from their hometown of Hartford, Connecticut. The twins, who were around 13 at the time, started going to a new church. Music was already in their blood from a young age, since their mother was a professional jazz and gospel singer. They ended up joining the youth choir directed by a then 15-year-old Kyle Norman, who had been bribed with a pool party by the twins' mother if he could convince her sons to participate. While doing their thing in the choir, the trio also spent time enjoying other genres of music and decided to put together an R&B group. With the addition of another friend, the now foursome, going by the name Twin AK, rehearsed diligently for the next couple of years. Then, one day, they got the opportunity to meet and sing for Michael Bivins when New Edition came to town. After hearing the group, he offered them a deal on the spot. Unfortunately, after several months went by, Michael came to the guys and was honest with them about having too much on his plate. He gave them his blessing to find another deal elsewhere. They would finally end up getting hooked up by Candy Burris of R&B group Escape. She actually went to high school with Richard Wingo, who was the last to join the group after one member dropped out. While his father was out running adult entertainment clubs, Wingo's mother made sure her son stayed in the church. It was there where he honed his vocal and performance skills, just like the other guys. He also was a member of a secular group, but things didn't work out with them. After graduation, the group, now going by the name Jagged Edge, which they took from a movie title, produced a demo. Wingo gave it to Candy to get her opinion on it. She loved it. So much so that she took it straight to her group's producer, Jermaine Dupri. He loved it as well and immediately signed them to his Columbia Records distributed imprint, So Def Recordings, with Candy serving as their manager. He thought that with their hood sensibilities, he could make them into the male version of Escape. Fun fact, Candy and Brandon began seriously dating at this time. They even moved in together at one point. Before the young men made any noise on the music scene, though, a couple of them had already begun very adult lives by having children of their own. Both Brian and his brother Brandon had become fathers by the time they turned 18 years old. This meant that the opportunity to do what they loved to do would turn out to be an even bigger blessing, giving them the chance to adequately provide for their families. Compared to their peers in the industry, Jagged Edge's debut took a little bit longer to get off the ground. Jermaine would later admit that it was due to him not being able to get their formula down right away. Him and the guys would actually have arguments about it. Jermaine didn't like their idea of going forward with an album full of ballads. The group would end up being appreciative of Jermaine making them do some mid-tempo and up-tempo tracks, even though they knew that everyone would especially love their slower songs. The group began their mainstream recording career with the single The Way That You Talk, released in 1997. That same year, their debut album, A Jagged Era, dropped. The second single off the Gold Project, called I Gotta Be, written about Brandon and Candy's relationship, would be their first major hit, reaching number 11 on the R&B charts and number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100.
You know I got to be.
The group's meteoric rise, though, wasn't without its share of problems and ego trips. A tight-knit friendship began to be filled with fights and reckless behavior. Wingo was drinking 5 nights a week. The group rolled joints at press conferences and got charged with DUIs. They went into full rock star mode, without the forgiveness rock stars receive. At one point, the guys were required to attend anger management classes. 2 years later, the group's follow-up album, J.E. Heartbreak, was released. It would end up being the group's breakthrough project, going double platinum, off the strength of the hit singles He Can't Love You, Let's Get Married, and Promise, a heartfelt song written by Brandon about his current relationship with Destiny's Child member Latavia Roberson. More successful singles and albums followed over the next several years, including 2001's Jagged Little Thrill, which featured their highest charting single, Where the Party At, 2003's Hard, featuring Walked Out of Heaven, and 2006's self-titled album that featured Good Luck Charm. Even though the group wouldn't achieve any more gold or platinum selling albums, they continued to consistently release projects over the next decade. Their relationship around this time with Jermaine appeared to have soured. Brandon confirmed as much in an interview, saying, "I usually like to leave the door open for questions like that, but I'm going to go ahead and close that door. No, we're not working with Jermaine. I'm not really looking to ever work with Jermaine again. It's not beef. It's no love lost. I just think we're on two different pages, and that's fine. He can be where he's at, and we can be where we're heading." Internal issues with the group also began to come to a head. Wingo went off and created a new group with Q from 112 and RL from Next called WQRL. The way he explains it is that he didn't have any intentions of splitting up Jagged Edge, he just wanted to keep the ball rolling. The new venture wouldn't last long though, and he would soon rejoin the rest of the guys in the studio to begin putting their next project together. That project, their 8th album titled J.E. Heartbreak 2, gave the guys the perfect opportunity to reunite with their old mentor, Jermaine Dupri. The album would not do well, not because the tracks or lyrics weren't hot enough, but because of the negative backlash the group received as a result of one member's shameful behavior. Kyle's highly publicized 2015 aggravated assault against his fiancée, Marika. Police reported that the victim had welts under her eyes, a golf ball-sized knot on her upper left forehead, a cut on her nose, and a burst blood clot in her right eye. She told authorities that Kyle punched and choked her with a scarf before shoving her engagement ring down her throat, further choking her. He also allegedly took her car keys, broke her cell phone when she attempted to leave, and told her he was going to end her life. The couple reportedly got into a fight about Kyle's drinking, and he later said he was upset to learn about his father's recent cancer diagnosis when the fight began. 1 year later, both Kyle and Marika, his now wife, appeared on The Steve Harvey Show to talk about his assault conviction and how they're moving forward in their marriage. Sadly, Kyle wouldn't keep his hands to himself for long. Later that year, he would be arrested again for criminal trespass, obstruction of officers, battery, family violence, and cruelty to children, after Marika called 911 to report that Kyle was beating up his son, Keelan. Keelan said his father spent the evening drinking and cursing out family members. When he finally confronted his dad, the man began pummeling him, even pulling out a knife at one point. Kyle also punched holes in the wall, broke a coffee table, damaged a kitchen fan, and shattered a mirror in the home during the alleged assault. A judge ordered him to stay away from his wife and son and attend a domestic violence prevention workshop. Since he was behind bars, Kyle wasn't able to participate on the group's 2017 album, Layover, that has the distinction of being the only one of their projects to not feature the members on the cover art. Despite everything, Kyle's fellow group members continue to show their love and loyalty to their fallen brother. In 2018, Brandon's baby mama and their daughter, Amani, were interviewed by blogger Tasha K and spilled all the tea about their broken relationship with the famous singer. Just days later, a tearful Brandon called in to give his side of the story. He apologized to his daughter, but added that their strained relationship is not all on him. So that should have been the end of it, right? Wrong. Brandon's ex called back into Tasha to drop even more bombshells, including laying blame at the feet of Kandi Burruss. Then, in December 2019, some interesting information about some alleged inappropriate incidences that went on between a couple of the Jagged Edge members and a couple of members of an R&B girl group came to light. Matthew Knowles sat down with Vlad TV for an interview to promote his new book. During the conversation, he claimed that while Destiny's Child toured with Jagged Edge and John B. early on in their success as a group, two of the ladies came to him with complaints that they were constantly being harassed by two of the guys. One of those young ladies was Kelly. The other was his daughter, Beyonce. The accusations came as a bit of a shock, considering that the relationship between the two camps seemed to be a positive one. Destiny's Child even made a very memorable cameo in the Guys I Gotta Be video. The original version, anyway. The one most of you will be familiar with is the one shown earlier in this video. Was Matthew the one to order the internet be scrubbed clean of the version featuring Destiny's Child due to the harassment accusations? Well, anything is possible. Matthew said he takes full responsibility for making the poor decision to put Destiny's Child and Jagged Edge on the same tour bus. After all, the girls were only 16 or 17, while the guys were 22 or 23. So, just like he had the power to put them on, he had the power to take them off. And he did. He did not, however, name the alleged perpetrators. During Jagged Edge's Unsung episode in 2017, the guys claimed that the real reason they were kicked off was because they stood up for LaToya Luckett's mother, who apparently Matthew wanted off the bus as well. Two of the guys, Brian and Brandon, also had a more personal interest in the matter since they were dating LaToya and Latavia at the time. Rumor had it that Matthew wasn't too happy about that either. The brothers were even blamed for some time as being part of the reason the girls were kicked out of Destiny's Child. In May 2020, Jagged Edge went head-to-head with 112 in an unforgettable versus battle. Unfortunately for Jagged Edge, possibly due in part to their terrible audio issues, 112 came out as the victor. 2 months later, the quartet's 10th studio album, a double disc titled A Jagged Love Story, was released. The group kicked off 2021 with the launch of their podcast, Views from the Edge. On it, they share their points of view on life, love, the music business, and a plethora of related current events. While promoting the podcast, they also revealed that they're currently working on a new album. The first single, Inseparable, dropped in September 2022. The album is slated to be titled All Original Parts, a nod to their solid 25-year run with all 4 original members. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss any future videos. See you next time!